After World War II, the Arts Council took over running the hall, and they ran the hall actually until the 1980s. And this was quite a difficult time for the hall from the early 50s, because this was when the festival hall opened. And so things were not quite so good in the 1950s. You still had some of the well-known artists coming, but there were more and more debut recitals. So it wasn't the best period for the hall. Then in the late 50s, William Lyne arrived as assistant manager and took over as manager in 1966. And from then on, he started building up the hall. I know it took him quite some time to achieve that, but the important thing with William was the music was what was most important. It's that Wigmore Hall ethos, which is the music, the musicians, the public, and that's what was so important for William, and just getting the best people he could to come along and sing for us. People who loved music. The real change came in 1976 on the 75th anniversary, when he persuaded all the people like Arthur Rubinstein, Elizabeth Schwarzkopf to come along and sing and play for the 75th anniversary. And it was then that Arthur Rubinstein announced his retirement from the stage, but also asked people to keep coming back to this wonderful hall, and which they have been doing ever since. William built it up to really what it is today. He was manager here until 2003, when he retired. And now it's in the very capable hands of John Gilhooly, who is continuing in William's footsteps. And the hall has a new lease of life. It's a very wonderful place to be.
I'm very conscious of the history of the hall, and of the way that the traditions of the hall actually have helped us to shape the future. Because if you look back at the hall, it's been awash with new music and with living composers from the moment these doors opened in 1901. So when I walk through those doors as director, I'm thinking about how we can best shape the future of the hall while respecting its great tradition, and to continue its work as a kind of living, evolving hub at the forefront of the chamber music world. And you know, the architecture of the hall, its beauty, its unique acoustic, they're all part of those magic ingredients that attract artists from all over the world. But I suppose it's a sense of pride you feel first of all when you come through the door, and a sense of excitement about the past and about the future.
The hall itself hasn't changed over the last 100 years. It's more or less exactly the same. Some new seating, some new air cooling, which we've put in the last 4 or 5 years. But the hall itself, because it has such a perfect acoustic, you couldn't actually change that. You wouldn't want to. But outside of the hall, there are other changes. We did a refurbishment in 1991, and the hall was closed until November 92. And during that period, we put in some more office space backstage, but also put in a restaurant and a function room down in the basement. You had to have a restaurant, you had to have that kind of space to be able to expand, to be able to accommodate sponsors. People expect when they go out to a concert to have a decent bar, to have somewhere that they can eat. So that was very important. It was very important for us working in the offices too, because we needed more space, obviously. When you're expanding, when I first started here, there was very small staff, just, I think 7 people. Now I think there are 27 full-time staff, so it has really grown. But you've got to grow. I mean, it is a business. I think musical world has changed too. You've got to be a business. You've got to be a business. You've got to expand like that. We did a further refurbishment in 2004, which was when we put in the air cooling and the new seating, because the seating had been there for quite a number of years, and I think before that had been in a cinema. So it was well and truly past its sell-by date. We did do a test actually to see whether we would rake the last 5 rows of downstairs. We had actually an acoustic concert one day just a few years ago. And that was very interesting. We got a full hall. We got some artists to come along and to play twice. First time they played, the people in the back 5 rows would be sitting on acoustic cushions, and so they were raised up. And then they'd play again without the acoustic cushions. And there was actually a difference in the sound. It did, not hugely, but it did change the sound. So we didn't go ahead with putting in a rake, because obviously we didn't want to change the acoustic, which is so good.